What if I were to tell you that the Sharks would have Marc-Edouard Vlasic, Mario Ferraro, Jan Ruda, all on the scoring sheet, but no Will Smith, no Macklin Cellerino? I mean, you would think they would have gotten destroyed, right? Wrong. We'll break this one down. The Sharks somehow in a game against Tampa Bay right now on Teal Down After Dark. Good evening, everyone. It is January 2nd, 2025. We hope you had a nice New Year's. The Sharks start off the new year with a victory, 2-1 over the Tampa Bay Lightning, and we welcome you to this edition of Teal Town After Dark. This is your live interactive Sharks postgame. We do this after every game, tormenting ourselves, but tonight, not so much. So if you want to be part of the show, chat with us and fellow hockey fans all over the world in Sharks territory on the YouTube page or the app. If you're watching us live, if you're watching a replay, don't worry. Leave your comments down below on what you thought of tonight's game. And of course, we always encourage you to follow us on the socials. We GIF on Blue Sky, Twitter, and Threads. And of course, you can find everything at tealtownusa.com. And if you want to support the pod, do so on Venmo at tealtownusa. Or if you are watching us live, you can hit us up with the super chat option. And boy, howdy, Landy, what? Who are these guys?
I know, right? I mean, they only allow one goal, play halfway decently in their own zone, can make a first pass in the defensive zone. It's like, did I miss something here?
I mean, stark
where has
contrast
this
from
been? Where has this been in the last month? Like literally the last month. Where has this been?
A stark contrast as to what they've been going through over the last month. That's easily can be said. But go figure, indeed. So the Sharks
and against of all opponents, Tampa, right? I mean, this is the game they choose to decide to pick it up. I don't know. This team has always been like that though, where it'll give you a tease, against a really good opponent, and you think, okay, maybe you've turned a corner, maybe something has changed, and it just be an illusion. But let's hope that this is the start to a good month, and again, just turning the page out of December, I think was the biggest probably mental hurdle that the team could get through, right? Because I mean, it just seems like the month of December, it's last year, this year, the year before, that Decembers have just been tough for the last couple of years. So
yeah, I mean, it was the Sharks that came into this game 1 point in their last 8 games. They had 1 win in their last 12. The last win was December 12th against St. Louis. Celebrini has been on a roll. He had like 12 points in his last 5 games. You're seeing things, or excuse me, I think it's 10 games. I think I wrote that wrong. But nonetheless, Marc-Edouard Vlasic makes his season debut after literally missing half the season. Graf making his season debut on the college kid line with Will Smith, Macklin Celebrini. And of course, we would be remiss if we didn't mention about Tampa Bay and their craziness. I mean, Nikita Kucherov, he's played in 32 games, 54 points, Landy, but he's only gone 4 games without a point entering tonight. In a game. They're coming off a rare home loss to Montreal. Shout out to Gonzalez of Brazilian descent. You love to see it, love to see all of it going. But you know what else I love to see? An early lead, Landy. Toffoli making it 1-0 with his 15th of the season.
Yeah, able to get behind the defense there, kind of park himself right towards the blue line and kind of moves up towards the hash marks, able to get a little bit of a stutter step through the slot, and able to kind of make that pull around type move that he's got in his arsenal for a really nice snipe job. But really, I think we should talk about Jan Ruda and Marc-Edouard Vlasic being able to move the puck on the blue line and effectively skirt that puck on the blue line, which we had seen the younger defensemen have had struggles keeping, the puck in the zone, particularly when the forwards would kick it up back towards the blue line. So again, it's good to see the steadying, the steadying hand of Vlasic kind of come out of the defense core and kind of make them all play a little bit better. Because I thought tonight Mario Ferraro also had one of his better games, as a blue liner on the team in a long time. So it kind of just goes to show you how big of a missing hole the team has on the defensive end. Now, Marc-Edouard Vlasic is not the long-term answer to that hole, but it just kind of goes to show you that they need another body and preferably a really good shutdown defenseman. So again, Marc-Edouard's got one more year left on his deal. Hopefully this means he can start to play a little bit more regularly, and maybe can start to take the mentorship of Mookie and of the other young defensemen like Thrawn or Thompson, and take their wing a little bit more, because he's able to show them on the ice how to bring it. So again, good to see Marc-Edouard on the ice. Long tenured Shark, is probably going to retire as a Shark, I would assume. I don't foresee him getting another deal after this deal. And I think he'll be remembered as, a stalwart blue liner, kind of like in the vein of like a Rob Blake or something for LA, or, just a all-time defenseman you think of as a Shark. So, but again, good to see Vlasic on the ice. Good to see him play. And again, I think just kind of brought a calming effect to that blue line that we hadn't seen in a long time.
Yeah, nice to see, indeed, with Vlasic coming in.
Puck,
he didn't
I think
stick
we also
out.
got to make mention of Mark Hubler with the super chat donation. He got first way back when.
Nice. Mark,
Thanks, sir.
D. Mark Hubler Jr., thank you very much for the $1.99 super chat. Always goes to help support the show, making everything, keep the lights on and everything. So appreciate that. So yeah, 44 to the rafters. Samcast, let's get crazy. Tommy Sanchez Vlasic looked great today. I mean, and it is the first one against Tampa since 2019. Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what was it was like 09-1 or something, was there how they were in
something
the last
like that. Yeah.
Tampa?
It was something ridiculous in that, Jules called. Yeah, she got the Discord win for the predictions. In frickin' Hawaii, no less. Whatever. Jules, hope you're having fun.
Must be nice.
and like Tiger mentioning, I can't believe Mario Ferraro had a game-winning snipe and punched his college teammate. Yeah. Yeah, he would get into a fight later on after Kovalenko was hit, not great from Littleberg. Was it me, or was there some reason? Apparently I'm underwater. Oh, okay. Or maybe that was earlier, but nonetheless, was it me, or was it Kovalenko being a little brat to Tampa? It just seems like they were all over the place. Him and Cunnin, starting.
Yeah, I noticed that too in the first period. And the broadcast mentioned it earlier. They had a spirited morning skate. It was much more intensive than than what they normally have been preparing with. So I think the combination of having lost 8 games, the coach probably on there on their butts, having a spirited morning skate. They came out with some aggression. They wanted to
Right.
come out and hit something, mix it up a little bit, get under the skin. And in that first period, I think that was part of the success that the team was having, was just kind of getting under Tampa's skin a little bit. And Tampa looked a little disjointed, weren't able to put passes together, which is very uncharacteristic of that team. So I noticed that too. And especially Cunnin, and I thought Kovalenko, both did a really good job. I thought Toffoli also was doing a really good job as far as puck possession down low. So kind of also bringing a little bit of a physical game, not necessarily with hits, but able to possess the puck. So, look, Sharks teams in the past have had success with that kind of blueprint, where if they engage with the body and engage in a little bit more of a of a physical type game, it seems to bring all of their game together for them. So I
And give
would say continue to do it.
and give effort. Want to shout out Nico Sturm, and I know Sam Cass was saying the same thing as he takes the shot. He's hurt. He's dragging to the bench. He had to return, but I mean, the poor guy was humble. Hobbled off to the locker room. So Semcast definitely want to mention that for sure, because big shots are taking shots like the front line of a World War II out there. Big heart character for this team. And, that's the thing is you saw Cunnin doing, being a brat. You saw Nico Sturm doing little things. You saw all the guys try to do, a hell of a lot bigger effort than they showed up the other night against Philly. And it just seems like it just went to one whole step and it started clicking for them.
Yeah, I remember we talked a little bit about how the previous game against Philly, like physically they were there, but mentally they weren't all the way there. Like they were skating, not necessarily against Philly. I think it was the game before where they had kind of kept up and were giving a little bit of a well, like I said, a little bit of a vibe of, physically they're there. Seems like they're going through the motions, but mentally just not there. Tonight, complete opposite, where it seemed like the team was engaged, kind of had a cohesive plan of what they wanted to do, how they wanted to neutralize Kucherov's line, and then really a good effort by that kid line. I thought that kid line tonight of Celebrini, Smith, and Graf brought a lot of energy. And I thought that every
Right.
time that line was on in the offensive zone, they were putting together some nice sequences together. I think you got one right here.
No, well, I was gonna just quick shout out here. Where was it? Simcast mentioning, I think the balance of the college kids help the line match better. Colin Graf is a speedy guy, and once he gets the NHL jitters out and builds chemistry with Selly and Smith, it's game on for that line. Yeah, I mean it's nice. It's nice to see, because I mean they were shoehorning like Zetterland or worse Cunnin or Goodrow in there, and it's just like
It'll be really nice to
you
see
got
Eklund come back, because then I think you can have Eklund, Granlund, and Zetterland together, as a trio again, and then you can keep Celebrini. Yeah, you can keep Celebrini and Smith, and if Colin continues to play like this, he might be ready to stay. I mean, considering all things considered, how well he was doing in the A. So we'll see. We'll see how that line develops, because we've seen Smith oscillate between looking comfortable out there and looking a little and looking a little lost. Tonight I thought he looked very comfortable out there with his line mates. So really, I mean, the name of the game this year is development, right? And those three, those two in particular, Celebrini and Smith are, yeah, they're really the key, to continue to develop them better. So if there's a guy on the line who can provide a little bit better chemistry for those two, I think it behooves the Sharks to keep him up, so that they can continue to have those guys develop in the right way, because it just seemed like there was a little bit of a revolving door. It seems like there's been auditions for a Smith Celebrini X person, whether it's Kostin or whether it's Kovalenko or whether it's Cunnin, I think played there once. Toffoli played there. So we'll see who sticks. But I liked Colin's speed, and I liked him on the forecheck. The puck kind of exploded on his stick a couple of times. That shows he's kind of got the jitters. But again, I'd like to see a couple games with him in that line.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens once Ekling returns, once Grundstrom returns. I would think Graf will go back down, but to kind of get that, plant the seeds now for maybe next year or a late call up would be nice. Would be really nice to see for it. What was also nice, gotta say, help out by a broken stick, but this night from Mario Ferraro. I mean, first off, there's this stick that gets in the way of former Shark Mikey Acemont, and then just a nice feed from Granlund, and I think Ferraro was trying to pass it, but he's like, screw it, I'm going to score. And it's like, finally, someone wants to just snipe it, and you love to see it because, you could just see the confidence boiling over with that 2-0 goal. And it made you think, one, maybe two, Tampa's just going to make us pay for it in the third. Just saying.
Honestly,
come on.
No, at that point for me, Eric, I was thinking more along the lines of, wow, the defense have really stepped up this game and really brought a different element that we hadn't seen in the last 8 games, right? Because when the team was having a lot of success in November, it was quick passing through the neutral zone. It was, those kind of sometimes TikTok passing. Sometimes they were executing on 2-on-3s. Sometimes it was a pull up in the zone, but they were having some really interesting ways to gain the zone and then to possess the puck in the offensive zone. And then in this last 8-game losing streak, the team really was stagnant, really could not move the puck all that well. Tonight, we saw the defensemen moving their feet a little bit more. We saw the forwards kind of track back a little bit more in the defensive zone. So I think the mixture of those two things, adding a veteran like Marc Edouard back on the blue line to kind of redistribute everybody, also helped. I don't like the fact that it came at the expense of Mukhamadullin, but again, we've seen these weird roster decisions before with the team. So I think it's still some roster shenanigans, whether that's happening from the coaching staff or it's Greer. But yeah, kind of interesting that you would have a guy like Mukhamadullin and not continue to play him, especially as a defenseman needing the reps the most.
Sure. I don't think it's going to help him being in the press box, but we'll see how long Vlasic lasts. It took him some time, but he had been practicing with the team for at least a month to get back in there, and nice to see. 19th year in the league, all with the Sharks. I think he was 3 away from 1,300 games, the third most for one defenseman in one franchise. That's just insane. But it's nice to see, and I see the comments, in here. Mook will get minutes once Ruda and Cece are traded. Yeah, but
well, it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, not yet. But don't sleep on Brandon Savona. We'll get to the World Juniors, guys. Don't worry. Our thoughts and prayers are with Canada tonight.
Have they called for an emergency summit yet?
We'll get there. Don't worry. We'll get there. We'll get there. But
It's not March, Landy. I don't get it.
trade deadline.
Oh. No, it is not March yet.
I mean, I know the days, months seem to go flying by, but yeah.
I'm halfway. We're already halfway through the season, though. Oh my gosh! I mean, 41. This was game 41.
Hey, we've improved. We went from 9 wins last year at this time, where we got throttled by Toronto. I think it was 7-1, to winning 12 games so far. Improvement. Still like the second worst in the league. And hey, don't worry, folks. Anaheim won too. It's okay. It's okay to celebrate just a little bit. Just a little bit. But continue on with the recap of this game. Cirelli with a nice tip in front to make it 2-1. I mean, nothing Askarov could do. It just spoils a shutout in there. But I mean, overall, that third period, though, they had to dig deep. They had to find something. They found a way to get it done. Whether it was
talk about not shelling up, though. Like, let's talk about in that third period how the team actually had a balance of keeping the puck in the offensive zone and taking the time to eat the clock out down low in the zone, and mucking it up, then getting a really nice change. This was the last 2 minutes of the third period, and getting a really good change, and then able to get back into a great defensive position, stand up on the blue line. I thought I could not give more props to the defense tonight, the way that they played structurally. It seemed like there was something different. It seemed like, Mark Edward of old, kind of shoring up the back end a little bit more. That's kind of what it felt like. So I don't know, maybe a little bit of that pickle juice helping out the team.
Oh boy, pickle juice! Yikes! I don't know. I can pass on the pickle juice. I'll have it on the side with my sandwich, but but we'll see. I gotta, there are a couple ones I want to cap off, because celebrities, starting to get some swagger here. We're trying the Cinerama. We got the you got the throwing players down, although kind of got a little high there to get the roughing call. But
I don't know, this Celebrini kid
overall,
seems kind of good.
He might be good.
What do you think, Buckeye?
He might be all right. But but nonetheless, I mean, let's talk Yaroslav Askarov. I mean, a decent night, 24 saves, 25 shots. I mean, the only thing that got by him was a tipped in one by Cirelli, as we mentioned earlier. But man, if this keeps up, I mean, it's gonna be tough to send him back down to the CUDA.
Hell no. And like the energy he gives, that kind of, I don't know, the Sharks have not had a character like that in a long time. So it's really cool to see it actually come from a goaltender too, because they're normally like either they're really weird and out there, or they're like hella quiet. So it's good to see a goaltender with a little bit of personality. I was watching last night a quick documentary on the Russian goaltending factory that's emerged in the last 10 years. And they were talking about Askarov and just the evolution that the Russian goaltender has gone through. I mean, they're going to the point now where they're going to like this Tretiak school, and they are all going through like plyometric type drills and doing ambidextrous type drills, doing drills where they're focusing on mindfulness during the game for the long stretches that they're not, that they're not having play come towards them. So really, really fascinating look on Russian goaltending. And from all accounts, I mean, Askarov is the real deal and could be one of the pieces that the Sharks build around for a very long time. I mean, it were shades of Nabby. Nabby was a different personality completely. Still, Nabby was quirky and funny, but he wasn't as outgoing, I don't think, as Askey. And I think Askey also just brings that kind of like, you know what, we might fuck up a little bit, but at least we're gonna have fun doing it,
Yes. Speaking of one more, because it was mentioned in the chat. Whoop! And okay, there we go. And Joe's gonna kill us later. But a $2 super chat from GRF. Finally, my son and I are celebrating a Sharks win. I know. Isn't it great? Yes, we get to win number 12. And so that's nice to see. A final score 2-1. Sharks get their victory, their first win of 2025, their first win in over 3 weeks, it seems like. So it's already nice. Semcast saying, Georgiev on waivers, AHL. When V comes back or Vanacek comes back, it wouldn't surprise me. Guy needs mental adjustment. He's not owning, so we'll put when after interviewed. We already got a second rounder and Kovalenko. If Georgi is picked up, who cares? You got to get through. You got to get through a little bit more. It'd be interesting to see when Vanacek gets back. What does happen? Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, the Sharks, I'll give them this, have been consistent about taking the path of least resistance. So, yeah, while we love the way Askarov is playing and he's done nothing but give the team reasons to keep him up, I have a distinct feeling that he might go back down just because it's the easiest transaction.
I would have to think it's going to be like that. So,
because I think that they're still banking on one of Vitek or Georgiev going at the deadline, which I don't know if that's the correct thinking to have, especially when you've got Askarov, who is now he's ready to go. Yeah, I don't think I honestly he's probably ready to take the number 1 spot if you're asking me, honestly, but I don't think they want to put that on him just yet.
Right,
but giving him the full backup role. If he can get in another 10 games this season, and that at the NHL level, I think that would be really positive for his development this year.
It would, but I just can't see them keeping Askarov up. And knowing, I think the CUDA do have Calder Cup playoff chances and a victory the other night against San Diego. Carlson with the overtime winner. I know Tiger is mentioning, about the CUDA signing of Samuel St. Hilaire to an amateur tryout. I think he was with Rimouski in the Quebec League. And he's talking about probably one of the best unsigned goalies from the draft, but he's a Q when he was undrafted. LOL. Yeah, I mean the Q is very.
They're the really good or they're really, it's like when you do find the gem out of the queue on the goaltending side, it's like, Carey Price or, it's like Patrick Waugh. But they have these long extended periods of drought where there just hasn't really been a really good goaltender coming out of the queue. So it's funny with the queue.
Marc-Andre Fleury. I mean, there's that.
Well, yeah,
so.
math. Yeah, of course. Sorry, Flower. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of ebbs and flows. So, I don't know.
Yeah. So, a victory tonight. It doesn't get any easier. Saturday, a 1 p.m. start. So, adjust your time clocks accordingly, folks. for the New Jersey Devils. It is summer in January day at the tank. So by all means, break out your shorts in the cold weather because why not? I would have, but I got a cold now, so probably not the best idea to do so. But let's talk. I mean, I see our viewership, so we want to welcome those of you who stopped watching Snow Motion, and welcome you to Teal Town After Dark. So it'd be nice to have you join us. Feel free to comment on the in the live chat down below. We appreciate your presence with us, whether you're watching this live or on the replay here. So appreciate that. But overall, Landy, I mean, halfway there. 9 wins last year, looked absolutely putrid. There have been putrid times. We just ended one streak here of 8 games. I mean, some progress is nice. I don't think it's the massive progress that I think a lot of people were expecting, but still some nice moments so far through 41 games.
I'd have to really dive in the statistics, but I will tell you that just given on my kind of gut feel reaction and with some very cursory look at the stats, that the team has been in most nights has been in more games than they have last season. There has been more of an effort on keeping goals out. And there's been more creativity shown in the offensive zone where it's not just a chore to watch this team dump and chase and try and, do a 2-4 check high type approach. So I think those
Right.
are all positives. Those are all very net positives. I am I won't say concerned, but I do still have some questions on deployment. And I think that there could still be a little bit more room for direction for the team. I still think that there are times where they can get caught out in their own zone and not really know what to do. So again, I think there are a few tune-up things like that. And definitely holding on to leads in the third period, right? Being more aware of where the game is going and what the game is doing.
Yeah.
Those I think are some of the things that I think the team needs to work on going forward for the rest of the season. But overall, I would say I'm pleased with the change as far as the delta of wins from last year to this year at this point. And I think we can start to have a little bit more hope that the team is now pointed in the right direction.
Right. Definitely. And just looking at the numbers as it is, last year they were 9-29-3 at the halfway point, good for 21 points. This year, a little bit of improvement, 12-23-6 for 30 points. So you do have a better advantage there. The biggest one though, is goal differential. They had scored only 81 goals in 41 games last season, so roughly 2 goals a game. Brody, if you're watching, 2 or fewer. But they allowed a putrid 171. This year, however, a little bit improvement. You got 107 goals for, 147 against, minus 40 goal differential. That is nice. However, it is still the worst goal differential in the league. Take that as you will. But you definitely have made progress. This team is watchable. Are there things that need to be improved? Yeah. I mean, this is nowhere near a solid build. And, if it was, we'd be really pulling our hair out, in this sense.
Yeah, no, and a guy and his dogs, as Askarov saying, at least he's got spot. I think you can just say
Yeah.
that about the entire team. right? At least the team has some spunk now. It really did seem like Celebrini being added to this team, his work ethic, the way he wants to win, the way he competes, the talent, of course, but all of those things have really, really pointed the franchise back in a positive direction.
Right.
And I think that's really the most you can ask for in his rookie year. Because the team had a bunch of issues, right? I mean, and it still has issues. So it's still got holes. But I think we see the light at the end of the tunnel now, and you can kind of start to see the pieces being formed as far as the core is concerned.
Yep.
And I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah. You cannot be excited about the San Jose Sharks. I mean, you think about it, you see what you got right now, with Celebrini, Smith, and Askarov. That's kind of the top layer. But once you dig deep in there, you see like the likes of Zetterlund, you see the likes of Colin Graff, or over in juniors, you have freaking Quentin Musty once he gets better from his broken hand, or Casper Halton, who's going to be in the semis at the World Juniors. You also have Luca Cagnoni. You have a lot of pieces that are going to be coming up, that even like the Ethan Cardwells that we saw earlier in the year, or the Daniil Yushchins, there are pieces here that make you give hope. I think you have to get on board with this team early on, because it's going to be nice to see once this gets all finished. And
I mean,
you start
but
there, and more are
yeah,
coming.
exactly. I was just about to go there. The prospect pipeline has been, consistently ranked top 5 for the last, well, since last year it was number 1, probably with Mac and Celebrini, right? But I would say it's still considered top 5. I would say probably I still think they've got the deepest pool of
Yeah.
prospects that the team has had ever. So I would put our prospect pool up against anybody's at this point right now. And it's not just, forwards, it's defensemen, and there's a couple of goaltenders that are kind of interesting too. So
Yeah.
I don't know. The Sharks have set themselves up for to be fun for the next few years, and not only be fun, but to also have a lot of stock to do a lot of different things.
Right.
Whether that's
And
trades, or continue to promote players, or have continued and sustained success for a long time.
yeah, I mean, once this team is out of cap hell, out of having big contractors still here, they have like some retaining spots open up. I mean, it's gonna be fun, And we didn't even mention Sam Dickinson, and poor thing is
Musty,
probably devastated right now, and Musty and
yeah.
Svoboda. You're gonna see those guys coming up sooner than later.
Hataka, Hatakainen, Hata. What's
You
the
mean Holtonen?
Holton? Thank you.
Yeah. I was like,
Um,
Hataka, that guy went on.
that was a while ago. Yeah. No. And then Byfield as well, or not Byfield. Why am I? Man, today is not my day. Bystead. So yeah, there's a lot there, and again, it'll be interesting to see how all of that maturates, and how they end up deploying the different pieces,
Right.
because there's kind of a logjam I think will start to happen.
Yeah, and it's gonna happen sooner than later. I mean, just give it time. It's not gonna happen tomorrow. So, um, let's get into the World Juniors though, because like a Tiger saying, Dickinson was misused by the entire World Juniors Championship, a complete clown of a coach. That's just tipping the iceberg on how Canada feels about the World Juniors, because I'm sorry, these kids were tired, so we didn't practice. I mean, I'm sure that the Americans, the Czechs, the Finns, and the Swedes are all practicing tomorrow, and they're in the semifinals. But
well,
I mean, yes, you can do
cue
some
the Royal
questionable
Commission.
officiating.
Cue the Royal Commission and Hockey Canada, a full panel review of the leadership of Hockey Canada, not to mention, parliamentary discussions and all of this other bullshit, because, if Canada isn't ruling the hockey world, oh my God, it's the apocalypse there. So, yeah, I don't know. Look, all I got to tell you is when you open up your game, and you include more talent on there, you're going to see traditional superpowers change over time. And that's just kind of how it rolls. I mean, it's the same way if we look at another kind of international game. Well, I mean, hell, even in baseball, which is traditionally it's a heavily American sport, but you've seen the rise in dominance in Latin leagues and Latin players coming into the league. But now the highest paid player is a Japanese player. So look, when you internationalize a sport, you get more eyes on a sport. You start to attract more players, and when you start to attract more players, you get more opportunities to get special talents, and you start spreading that across the world, and you're going to get different countries competing better. Now, having said all of that, I think the coaching was criminal for Canada, and I really do question, what was the driving force there with this type of coaching decision. I don't know why it was motivated the way it is. And, of course, Hockey Canada is very political as far as, what coaches from what league gets, are interviewed. The whole process is just very, very political there because they take their hockey to a different level. So we will see fallout, but it'll be interesting to see what it is exactly.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens because, semis, I mean, in the final, I mean, those are four very good, legitimate teams in there. I mean, I am not gonna, get all arrogant and American and say we got this, but it looks good for the United States. But watch out for Finland, watch out for Sweden, watch out for Czechia. I mean, it's gonna be, it's
yeah,
fire.
I mean, look, I wouldn't be surprised if Czechia goes on a little bit of a run here, because being emboldened by taking out Canada. I mean, just think about that. I mean, you've just taken out your little country has just taken out the hockey superpower of the world. Imagine the high that those kids are on right now.
I mean, practically everybody who beat Canada is on a high. Look at Latvia, made it to the quarterfinals, got eliminated. I mean, this tournament's just been crazy with upsets, with Kazakhstan, forcing overtime, and with two shorthanded goals. I mean, in Canada doing what they're doing, and like many have said, top 5 picks were not even invited. So it's
a
gonna be
little
interesting
arrogance and hubris from Team Canada, right? I mean, I think this has kind of been the elephant in the room with Team Canada for the last. I would say for the last 4 years, this last cycle, it has seemed that the politics of who is included and what who's included in the lists that comes out, the training camps, all of this is just kind of the hockey has taken a side step to who gets involved in Team Canada. And when you start to have people be more involved about the process than being actually involved with the hockey team and the product on the ice and getting these these kids conditioned, getting these kids ready to play with each other, from different home clubs and things like that. When you start to focus more on the politics of it, the hockey will suffer, and you're seeing that now. You're seeing that in the World Junior side now. Hopefully, Canada will get on its butt and nip that in the bud, but hopefully it doesn't propagate, upwards in Team Canada. Right? That's the fear, that this showing from the World Junior side will somehow be a precursor to other Team Canada teams. So it'll be interesting to see what happens out of this. But something will happen because they are not used to losing and they don't like it.
Yeah, Tiger, I heard this sentiment. This analysis I saw is that Canada picked the team for a 7-game series, not an elimination game format. I completely agree on there. And the other thing, William Eklund's brother is on Team Sweden, and you see the comments. Jules is like commenting from a beach right now, talking about Eklund's brother has top 5 high, low maybe 8, 9, or Martone at 4th or 5th would be crazy or nuts. It's it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting to see what happens. Yeah, they could put out a whole one line. Yes, you can have Eklund to Eklund, back over to Granlund, Granlund back over to Zetterlund, back over to Eklund. I mean, we'll see.
Is his brother a defenseman?
No,
is his brother
put Eklund, William at the point. So
okay, on the power play. I got you.
Yeah. Like Jules is saying, give me the one power play.
So that would be Granlund, Eklund, Zetterlund. So that's 4. Who's the 5th?
Yeah. No, well, we'll change Jake Wallman's name to Jake Wallman.
Wallmanlund.
Wallmanlund, Jake Wallland. It'll work either way. But so that's pretty much does it for
Cam Lund. Go get Cam Lund.
Cam Lund. Yeah, there you go. Totally forgot about that. Thank you. All right. With that, I'm losing my voice. In case you missed anything, or you want to watch this again, check this out at tealtownusa.com. Of course, you want the audio version, by all means, it'll be up in a little bit. Wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, YouTube Music, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeart, Odyssey. Of course, the big one is YouTube, so make sure you hit that like button right now. There's 82 of you watching. Come on. I mean, have we not hit 40 yet? Come on now, people. Let's make it happen.
Hey, also notifications. So like when you get notified Lund versus Wood.
We don't play Colorado yet, Landy. Calm down.
Lund versus a woodish gloves. Thank you, like a tiger.
Boy.
We had to get a Wood Lund joke in there somewhere.
I'm just gonna leave that there. All right, for Eriks Landi, your final thoughts.
Final thoughts are: it's good to get a win. Good to see the team actually bring some defensive structure to the game, and I hope that they can carry that into their next game. And I hope that this new year brings great development strides for the young players. And as far as where you can find me, you can use my first name. That's Erik. Last name Landi across all the social media garbage.
That is right. He spells his name the right way, folks. I'm at PuckGuy14 on everywhere, every freaking social media thing. I have a jersey design to make. I haven't done one in like 3 weeks, which is great. We will be back with you on Saturday following Sharks and Devils. That's a 1 p.m. start. Someone get Landy a pillow. 1 o'clock start for the Sharks and Devils on Saturday, which means about a 3:35 beginning of the show. I don't know who's going to host it because I'm at the tank. So I will see you there. But until then, thank you very much for watching. Timo time, yes. If he could do what he did last time we played the Devils, that would be great.
I
Absolutely.
might join you Saturday.
Really?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm going to be in town on Saturday.
Oh boy, we're in trouble then. All right. So thanks for watching. Appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real teal. Have a great night, everyone. We'll see you Saturday afternoon, hopefully for an afternoon delight.